Alright, so it's no mystery that you'll live an extremely depressing and unfulfilling life and pretty much get nowhere if you're absolutely addicted to the internet and watching content. You've probably heard that like 100 times and the same advice every single time when it comes to quitting your content addiction. But nobody addresses the bigger problem, which is probably why you're addicted and you keep on staying addicted to the internet right now. There's a reason why that so many people hate that they're addicted to the internet and they want to start living their life, yet they keep on doing the same behaviors again and again and again. And they keep on doing the things that they hate. Back in quarantine, I used to be on the internet for around 16 fucking hours every single day. And once quarantine ended, I was still chronically online. I'd go home from school, and then the first thing I'd do is just open up my phone and scroll, and basically I wasn't living, I was just existing. Over these years of wasting my time every single day, I wanted to quit, but I just couldn't. And it felt horrible because I felt like I was waiting for my life to start. So here's the big problem that no one talks about. So when you quit your content addiction, or you try, you're gonna realize how much extra time you have on your hands because you use this content addiction to fill up the empty spots in your life. But then you realize that your whole life revolves around your internet addiction and your content addiction, so you have nothing else going on in your life. If you've gotten off this content for a little bit, reality hits you hard. You realize that you haven't really been awake at all. You've just been sucked into internet addiction and content. And once you're off of it, you sort of wake up and you realize how much of your life you've been actually wasting and how much time you've been wasting. And it hits you hard. And you'll be struck with this feeling of a lot of discomfort, a lot of sort of shame, and a lot of boredom. And what do we usually do when we feel that? Well, to feel a little bit more comfortable, we go back to the content addiction. If you did quit your internet addiction, now what are you gonna do with your time? You've been wasting every single day, so you probably don't have any other thing to do except stay on the internet because that's what you know what to do. And we'd probably rather do something than be bored. And that slight feeling of comfort of going back to the bad habits is a lot easier than just facing that uncomfortable feeling of realizing that you've wasted your whole time and having absolutely nothing to do. The cycle repeats over and over again, and this is why it's so hard to quit. But what's the solution? Well, once we quit, we need something else to do. Because if we don't have something else to do, we're gonna be bored. We're probably just gonna go back to the one thing that we usually do, which is going back to the internet. So the solution is to start living a sick life. And thankfully, to have a cool life that you enjoy and to look forward to every day and feel less bored, you don't need to do anything insane. You don't need to be insanely rich or like fly to Dubai every weekend. You can do simple things, and that's what I want to teach you today. Not only am I going to teach you how to quit your internet addiction, but I'm going to teach you how to change your lifestyle up to live cooler days, so you'll not want to go back to that old lifestyle because your new lifestyle is way cooler. First, what are some things we can do to quit our content addiction? Let's split the type of content we consume into 3 categories, so we know which ones are the worst and which ones are somewhat okay. So the untouchables, the terrible ones, are gonna be like short form content like TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, pretty much any sort of short-term content that is highly stimulating, and then also porn, like overtly sexual content. That is a no-no, that is bad, and that's gonna be the worst for you. Third category is still bad, and it's still not gonna make your life better, but they're not quite as bad as the first category. So this is gonna be stuff like general algorithmic content, like YouTube, Twitter or X, whatever you call it, Reddit, things sort of like that. And then also in this category, I'm gonna add video games. General algorithmic content, it's not quite as bad as short form content and corn, but it can still make you waste a ton of time because their algorithms are super strong and they'll suck you in based off of your interests, and it'll still make you waste a lot of time. And also sort of the same thing with video games. They can still make you waste a ton of time, but it's not like every single video game is going to absolutely ruin your brain, but they're still really easy to be addicted to, and they can still make you waste hours out of every single day. And the last category is gonna still be things that are not the best for you, but their algorithms are less powerful, which means they'll be a little bit less addictive and waste less time. This is gonna be things like Spotify, Netflix, Hulu, Audible. And at the best tier is like dinosaur, like old type of entertainment. This could be like reading books, playing chess, downloading like audiobooks, listening to lectures, that kind of stuff. The way you'd look at a healthy diet is similar to how you limit your media consumption. So nobody really just goes from an unhealthy diet to a perfectly healthy diet. That's not sustainable. The better option is to slowly change up your diet and make small progress until it becomes a lot more healthy. And we can do that with our content addiction. So right now, just look at the content and media you consume every day. And when it comes to limiting your content addiction, take it easy. You don't need to immediately make a huge jump from being addicted to reels to reading books, because you'll probably not be able to do that and it'll feel shocking and sort of jarring. Instead, just make some small steps. Instead of maybe scrolling on your phone and going on reels and stuff, maybe instead you watch a YouTube video. And from that, when you make that progress, you could go from YouTube to maybe listening to a podcast or an audiobook. And then if you want to make the jump again, then you could go from just doing nothing after that. This will make it a lot easier to make long-term progress and actually stay consistent with quitting this addiction. Now, just write down all the media you consume every day and sort of video games you play. Pretty much all the types of internet you use to waste your time. And then figure out how you can make small progress in each one. So you can basically go from untouchable level to maybe slightly better level, instead of making that huge jump. What you can also do with quitting your content addiction is progressive deload. So pretty much you make yourself a goal or a timeline for like a week or maybe 2 weeks, right? So maybe this week you're only going to play video games every single day for only 5 hours, right? And then if you complete every day for only 5 hours, once you reach that level, then the next level for next week could be only 4 hours a day. And then the week after that is 3. And I know this sounds kind of like, oh man, I'm not gonna make that much progress. I'd rather just quit all at once. But there's a reason why you can't maintain that progress. So make it like the gym. You don't just instantly bench 315. You make small progress towards it. Treat your content addiction like that. Slowly change the type of content you watch to make it less stimulating, and also slowly decrease the amount of content you watch every day. And this will make it a lot easier to make long-term progress to actually fix your life. Some people's internet addictions are really bad. So if this is you, here's what progress can look like. Maybe right now you watch TikToks and Instagram Reels, and you also play video games at the same time. So progress for you might be only playing video games or only watching TikToks. And then you could go from TikToks to maybe trying to watch a TV show or a longer form video. And then you keep on basically progressively deloading the amount of content you consume and consuming less brain rot types of content as you progress. First thing you can do to make each day more interesting that'll help you actually quit your content addiction and get you to do more interesting things in your life is to basically have small adventures and challenges you do every single day. Doing a small adventure or challenge every day will not only make your life so much more interesting, but it will start to make you want to start living each day a little bit more. And it's a great way to get you used to like making your real life more interesting without taking too big of a jump. So simply just adding a small challenge or adventure every single day will make things a lot more interesting and just add a little bit more interest to your day. Doing a small challenge or adventure or something different every single day will also just get you better at taking action. These challenges or adventures could be very simple. It could be like maybe you just wake up super early at like 5 a.m. and just go on a walk to the park and just see what it looks like outside. Or maybe you wake up at 5 a.m. and decide to take a jog in the wilderness. Maybe you just ask your friends to buy some boxing gloves with you and you go to the park and you just spar and do a little bit of boxing, even if you don't know how to box at all. Maybe you just started calisthenics and you somehow convince a friend to go with you and you hit a really good workout before school or in the morning. Some of your friends together and you just go mountain biking, or you go alone and you go on a cool trail. Maybe you find a cool spot in the woods and you ask your friends to build a hut with you. Live in the city, maybe you just get a subway ticket and just go all the way around town and just talk to random people on the train. You go on Omegle and you practice your Irish accent and you see if people are convinced by it. Like just random sort of risky challenges that you wouldn't normally do. But you do these every day and they'll give you more opportunities for cool stuff to happen. I know these little challenges seem kind of dumb and insignificant, but when you start doing these little challenges and slightly difficult things and interesting things every single day, you're gonna create more stories to tell every day. You're gonna create more interesting opportunities that'll come out of these little challenges you do every day. As you do these more and more, you'll have more interesting opportunities. You'll meet interesting people. You'll have maybe skills or things you didn't know about yourself when you do these little challenges. And it'll make you enjoy life more because it's fun and it's thrilling to do these small challenges. And it'll make you not really want to go back to that old addiction where you're just rotting in your room, binge watching content. Small challenges will also help you take action on bigger things in the future. Right now you're getting better at taking action by just doing a small little thing every day. Even if it's not super productive, like making a bunch of money or starting some crazy business. This is a good first step to basically just break out of that cycle that you're stuck in right now. Since I've been trying these kind of random things and giving myself little challenges every day, I've met some pretty interesting people and had some pretty interesting opportunities come up. I joined a wrestling class around like 2 months ago. I already do jiu-jitsu, but I decided just to give it a try, because why not? I didn't really want to do it, but I just said fuck it and I tried it. And ever since I joined that class, I've met some cool people. Not only have I learned how to wrestle, but I've met a guy who wants to do MMA just like me. And I've also met like a few friends who are into fighting. And now we're gonna wanna start like a little fight club and meet up every week and spar. How cool is that? Just from like me making this one small decision and this little challenge, now I've had a friendship come out of this, and I've had like this idea for us to like do a little fight club. Just from this small challenge, something really interesting happened. So imagine doing this every day and the kinds of opportunities, friendships, and things that could change in your life. The main criteria for these challenges or little adventures is just to be something kind of new, risky, or exciting, or slightly difficult. The thing you can do to live a cooler life is to have certain fascinations or certain hobbies that make you excited every single day. Now, every day doesn't have to be just grind, business, self-improvement and stuff, because a lot of times you're gonna hate your life and you're gonna feel extremely bored. So to cure that boredom, instead of going to content addiction, you can find certain weird interests or hobbies that people might think you're a little bit weird for, but you really enjoy them. An example was around like 2 years ago, I was kind of living like shit. I was depressed and super stressed, had a lot of problems going on, and the one thing that kept me going and that kept me motivated to basically just wake up every day was my fascination with designing drones and UAVs. Even though everything else was going kind of wrong in my life and I was living like shit, the one thing that kept me going was my interest in UAVs. That was the one thing that got me excited. And that thing alone also helped me level up other areas of my life, because once you have one thing that motivates you, you're probably going to start doing other things as well. Maybe something kind of weird like designing Dungeons and Dragons maps, or maybe playing chess, getting really good at it, or learning how to code, or learning an instrument, or learning how to draw, or maybe just like carving a stick or building huts. The thing is, right now, if you're addicted to content and that's all you do and you're stuck inside all day, going from that to grinding out business and like leveling up all areas of your life can feel like a big jump. So sometimes what we need is just something to make us look forward to each day. And a lot of times the best thing for that is just sort of a fun, weird hobby that you really like doing. Notice that these weird hobbies or like sort of fascinations can also help you start to improve other areas of your life. And it's kind of like a good first step to take. This challenge or weird hobby could also be something that you're probably like, oh no, there's no point in doing that. You know, it's just kind of weird, I'm not gonna do it. But that's your sign to go do whatever it is. Maybe you're thinking like, oh man, it would be kind of crazy if I just like woke up super early and mountain biked like down a giant hill. Or what if I just woke up and like tried fishing and cooking a fish? Or what if I woke up and just, I don't know, like joined a boxing gym or whatever, right? But your brain's probably gonna make excuses for that and be like, oh, that's just kind of, you know, just keep doing the same thing. When you get that thought, act on it. Actionable step is to just plan a few challenges for the next couple of days. Plan a few adventures for the next couple of days. And these could be small things. It could just be something like, instead of walking to school this direction, just take a different route. You could start off small, and then you could add slightly bigger things each day. Maybe your little challenge for today is to spend like 1 hour learning about coding, or to maybe try to find a guitar that you can buy and learn how to play it. It's to just approach 3 strangers today and just spark up a conversation and see what happens. So now I'm gonna teach you how to break the cycle that you're stuck in. So right now you're probably in your room way too much, just consuming content way too much. So you realize it's bad, and then you try to quit completely, but then you get bored, you realize your life sucks, so you go back to it, and the cycle repeats. So your content addiction is probably a deep ingrained habit. You probably have some things you do in the day. Maybe it's a job, maybe you go to school, and there's certain empty spots throughout the day, so you fill them up with your content. So you need to identify when are those times where you basically just fill your empty time up with content. You go back home from school or work and you have a few hours to relax. So the first thing you do is just sit down and open up your phone, and that's when all the time wasting happens and when you don't live your life. But that could be an opportunity to do cool things. Most bad habits that we do, like scrolling on our phone, playing video games for hours on end, binge watching YouTube videos, there's usually a few activities or small habits that lead up to the big one. So An example could be like, okay, so you go home from school. That's the first thing that kind of gives your brain the mental cue to start, scrolling. And then the second thing is you sit in your room. And then the third thing is you get some junk food. And then that's when you start chilling and playing a bunch of video games. So those three activities kind of led up to this main thing. Another one could be like, maybe when you wake up and you always scroll on your phone, what are those few things that lead up to you doing that? Well, maybe you have an alarm. So you get the alarm, it wakes you up, and then you open your phone to turn it off, and now you have your phone in your hand, and now you're ready to scroll. So what are those few steps that usually lead up to when you scroll the most, and how can you eliminate them and hopefully replace them with something else? So what I recommend is think of those cues that add up to when you waste the most time. Maybe it's after school. So instead of going directly into your room after school and getting the junk food, maybe that is when you make your challenge of the day. Maybe at that time of the day is when you add the challenge. So think of the time when you waste the most time and replace it with the challenge that you add. This next thing is to try new things. Go 100% into trying new things. Right now, there's probably things that are holding you back. Like maybe you don't want to look dumb. Maybe you are afraid of what people will think. Maybe you think you won't do good in this thing that you're going to try. There's probably a bunch of limiting beliefs that come up in your head. And those limiting beliefs are going to keep you in the same spot of living that boring, depressing life of being addicted to content. It's so important to just try new stuff and just to put yourself out there almost blindly, because if you don't have anything to do in your life, then you're obviously just going to keep doing the same things, like being addicted to content, because you have nothing better to do. This is a great way to start finding your purpose and to start finding some sort of direction or mission in your life. Right now, you probably don't know what you want and what you don't want. You probably don't really have much values of your own, so it's important to just blindly try shit and mess up, fail, learn from your mistakes, and just learn about what you actually want to do. And from this, first of all, you're going to be more busy, so you're going to have less time to binge watch content and waste your time. And also, you're probably going to meet cool people, and there's probably going to be opportunities that come up when you try new things. You probably had an idea like, it would be crazy if I just tried this. Like, wouldn't it be crazy if I just joined a boxing gym and became like a badass fighter? Wouldn't it be crazy if I just started a YouTube channel and built a cool following about one of my interests? Wouldn't it be crazy if I don't know, whatever it is, right? You probably have some things that you've thought about doing, but you've just ignored it for some reason. So ignore that dumb thought that basically just dismisses these ideas and go 100% into these things you want to try. I've tried a bunch of different business models, a bunch of random things, and now I have a clearer idea of what I want to do. And now I can put my time into these things. And it's important because now I'm using my time for something useful and I have things to do instead of just using this empty space in your life and filling it up with bad habits and just wasting your time on social media. So even when you just try new things and you might fail, you'll still probably meet some interesting people, and it's important that you meet people because when you meet people, you can have more opportunities in your life. Coming from an introverted guy, and I still know the importance of meeting people. So right now, just figure out something you could try. Maybe it's to start a lawn care business. Maybe you start a YouTube channel randomly. Maybe you learn coding, right? Maybe you join a sports team and you try out for sports. Maybe you join a kickboxing gym. Maybe you join a yoga club or something. Maybe you learn how to grow your own vegetables or some shit. Like, I don't know. There's probably some random thing that you would find pretty interesting, and just try to get really good at it and try to find what you want to do. So if you follow all these steps, you'll be able to quit your content addiction and actually start living a cooler life. That's pretty much it. So if you're at the end of this video, congratulations. You have a top 1% attention span. So I'm gonna leave a link in the description of all the notes from this video, and also a bunch of like cool adventure and challenge ideas that you could take inspiration from. All right, that's pretty much it. Bye.